What is going on, guys? We are back for another episode of Pokemon Top 5s. This week we'll be covering the Steel typing, one of the best typings in Pokemon in my opinion. And honestly, just really good offensively, really good defensively, a ton of resistances, hits a ton of key typings pretty hard. It's just such a really good typing. But without further ado, before we get into this, just a quick disclaimer. Obviously, like I said before, this list is 100% opinionated. This list isn't really based off of purely stats or purely design. It's kind of a combination of the two, and then just kind of my feel using it as well. And so, as well, we only include primary and pure typings, just to allow a little bit more versatility in the typings, in the lists that we do. And we're not including legendaries because we do plan on doing a legendary list at some point as well. Without further ado, let us hop in to number 5. Alright, so at number 5 we have Copperajah, the Coupondrum Pokemon. This is one of the newer Pokemon to come out, and this came out in Generation 8. You know, honestly, for me, it feels like there really aren't enough elephant Pokemon, and when this came out, I was so excited for it, right? Super cool. It's a steel type, which is actually great. You know, it's very, like Indian style. It's great. I do love its design. We need more, right? I think the next real step is like another like mammoth Pokemon that isn't Mamoswine. But yeah, anyways, getting back to Copperajah. Copperajah, obviously heavy metal and sheer force, two extremely good abilities, two very fitting abilities, with a nice 122 HP stat. So despite the fact that its defenses are both kind of 69-70 range, that HP stat covers that and gives it a little bit better mixed defense. And then it also has a 130 attack stat. I mean, this thing hits like a truck, but it's slow as all get out, which is fine because it makes it a perfect trick room attacker. Heavy Slam is going to do a ton of damage, especially when you add it with heavy metal. There's also Heat Crash, which is a bit of a newer move, that also gets boosted by heavy metal. And then if you decide to run Sheer Force, then Iron Head, Power Whip, Rock Slide are all moves that are going to get boosted as well. And so these are all very common moves for Copperajah. Has a very diverse move pool, a ton of really powerful moves in different typings, and so it gets a lot of coverage moves for it. But yeah, I mean, Power Whip's going to hit all those ground weaknesses. Stone Edge is going to help, or Rock Slide is going to help just with general rock typing and ground typing, steel typing. They all like to have those moves that hit flying types, or hit other things that maybe you otherwise wouldn't try to hit. You know, it has Play Rough, so on top of the fact that it walls dragons, it also can hit them pretty hard. It's Stealth Rocked. I mean, this Pokemon is a very good Trick Room attacker, and in the lower tiers of just single battling is pretty good as well. But for me, you know, the fact that we needed more elephant Pokemon, I think really has moved this up the list for me. And design wise, there's really no complaining about it, right? Like, it's kind of like this, like, oh, what are they called? Like the, you know, like the scoops, like they look for like construction workers and stuff, right? Like, it kind of has that kind of going for it too. I don't know why I'm blanking on the word right now, but for me, that's why this is number 5. And I think we've talked about this way too long, so let us hop in to number 4. Alright, so at number 4 we have Aggron, the armor Pokemon. Now, to me, this is where, you know, we talked about it on last week's list with the rock typing, that I didn't really love that Tyranitar became this more defensive Pokemon in its Mega Evolution. Because, to me, it was always Aggron that was supposed to become that. And this is why I really like this Pokemon. Another heavy metal Pokemon, another Pokemon that has Rock Head as well, so it's able to kind of do a lot of damage and not have a recoil. The heavy metal is going to boost up its head smash or its heavy slam, You know, obviously it has Sturdy as another backup ability. And then its Mega Evolution has Filter, which also makes super effective moves only do 3/4 the amount of damage. So your weaknesses are a little bit less. You lose the rock typing, you become a pure steel type. 110 attack, not the greatest defenses or special defense, but 180 in the physical defense, 230 when it Mega Evolves. This thing is great defensively. It just really does struggle with the special side, but even in its non-Mega Evolution form, you know, you run an Assault Vest. I mean, that's 180 defense with decent defense stats. So obviously this thing is not anywhere great competitively, but design-wise, you're really gonna tell me that this like Triceratops looking Pokemon is not going to be one of the coolest Pokemon out there. You got me messed up, but yeah. You know, another Pokemon that really I felt that Steven should have really utilized more and had it more on his team. He does have one, but he just doesn't really like. It's not really as much of a focus, right, as another Pokemon that will be seen later on this list. But without further ado, let us hop in to number 3. Alright, so at number 3 we have Mawile, the Deceiver Pokemon. Now this Pokemon is on the list because of its lore. This thing has a crazy cool lore. It's basically, it has its second mouth to devour like men in Japanese lore. I don't remember the full story of it. I should have done a little bit more research on it before starting this, but you know, it's kind of like a demon kind of thing, like in the back. It actually really reminds me of the first Harry Potter movie, where you have like Professor Quirrell in the front, all like this like cute little girl here, and then, you know, she takes the turban off or whatever, and then it's like this like massive like Voldemort, you know, demon thing on its back that's like trying to devour people. I believe it actually listens to its back, like it's like the back mouth thing like actually has a brain and like talks to Mawile. But yeah, competitively this thing is pretty dope. Hyper Cutter makes it immune to Intimidate. It also has Intimidate on its own and Sheer Force as kind of a hidden ability. So Intimidate, Sheer Force, and Hyper Cutter are all very strong moves. And then of course, you're not going to probably use Maul without Mega Evolving it, and Huge Power is its ability, which is very, very powerful. Doubles the attack stat of the user. And when it Mega Evolves, it has 100 base attack, so this thing becomes an absolute truck. Absolutely able to just dismantle things. And of course, it's a very slow Pokemon, so it's going to be a Trick Room attacker. It gets Swords Dance, Play Rough, Sucker Punch, Knock Off. It gets all the Elemental Punches and Elemental Fang moves. Brick Break, Iron Head, Rock Slide. I mean, this thing is out for blood. You know, you get in Trick Room and you start Iron Heading and Rock Sliding. I mean, that's just asking to be flinched every turn. And then even if you do decide, oh yeah, I don't need that, I mean, you still have Play Rough, Sucker Punch, which are just unbelievable moves. And so, very, very strong typing. One of the better typings in Pokemon. And then it gets a huge power boost. I mean, this thing is just a monster. But without further ado, let us hop in to number 2. Alright, so at number 2 we have Metagross. I really, really thought this was going to be number 1 when I made this list. I honestly did. Steven Stone rocking the picture here with his shiny Mega Metagross. But, I mean, this Pokemon is one of these pseudo-legendaries of Hoenn. It is one of the most iconic Pokemon out there. Its design is unbelievable. Has that Megatron-looking look to him. Right, like this thing is just unbelievable. Has I think it's what, 100 brains, 100 supercomputer level brains. This thing is incredibly intelligent, better than a supercomputer, and is just unbelievable. Like crazy good stats, crazy good typing. like I said, the pseudo-legendary of the region. Clear Body makes it immune to all stat drops, and then when you Mega Evolve, it gets Tough Claws, boosting any kind of like punching or physical hitting move. And I mean, this thing's just gonna roll you over. 80 HP, 135 attack, 130 defense, 95 special attack, 90 special defense, and 70 speed. Speed's really the only thing that kind of slows it down and makes it tough to use, but then you Mega Evolve and you jump up to a 110 speed. I mean, this thing is just incredibly talented and very, very good. Steel Roller is one of the newer moves. It actually removes terrain, and also is like a 110 base power move. So in the newer generations, this Pokemon really does stop terrains. Stopping Tantrum, another very good common move, kind of a replacement to Earthquake in the more modern game here. Stealth Rock is used in single battles. Iron Head and Meteor Mash are its two main steel type moves. Does get all the elemental punches, so you can kind of have ice punch coverage. Maybe you're on a terrain team and you want to be able to use like Thunder Punch or something. Like, it's going to be able to do some damage there. Hammer Arm, Zen Headbutt, Bullet Punch are other moves that it possesses, and that's just its physical side. Like, I mean, it has a full special move pool as well, and it does have a respectable special attack set at 100. So a very, very strong Pokemon. Obviously, Steven Stone's Ace, which gives it a lot of nostalgia, which gives it a lot of everything else. You know, this is one of the most feared Pokemon in the game for basically since its inception, and so for me, it had to be number 2 on the list. Like I said, I honestly thought this was going to be number 1 when I made this list, but without further ado, let us hop in to our number 1 slot on this week's Top 5. And number 1 on our list this week, Aegislash. Now, I thought this was going to be on the list. I didn't know where I was going to place it originally. And the more I thought about it, I've got to use this thing a ton. The more I thought about it, I had no choice. Like I kind of said, I'm a little bit of a history nerd. I've always loved Egyptian history. I've always loved medieval history. And Aegislash is literally medieval history. It fit the Kalos region very, very well. It fits Sword and Shield even better. It's actually crazy that this thing came out like a couple generations before that. But one of the most dominant Pokemon to ever race Pokemon. I mean, this thing was immediately sent to Ubers in single battles, and in doubles is one of the most dangerous Pokemon out there. Stance Change is kind of basically a Protect that changes its form from being a 140 attack to a 140 defense in both categories. And so you can kind of, at any given point, be one of the bulkiest Pokemon in the game and one of the hardest hitting Pokemon in the game. It's unbelievable. It's basically the ultimate mind game Pokemon. If you can outsmart your opponent, this thing can 6-0 almost any team. Almost any team. You beat out what it really can't handle, and then it sweeps everything else. It is unbelievably strong. Shadow Ball, Flash Cannon, Close Combat, Shadow Sneak, Shadow Claw, Iron Head, Sacred Sword, Wide Guard, Substitute. I mean, this thing can do defensive and offensive roles at the exact same time. It's just an unbelievable monster. You know, the ghost typing really does give it kind of a cool factor to it, and obviously Steel being one of the naturally best typings in Pokemon. It was really, really hard not to just place this on the list immediately. But with that, that is our top 5 this week. We only have one more typing to go, and that is the water typing. And then I think we're going to kind of transition our top 5s from my top 5 Pokemon to maybe some different categories and things as we prep for the new games to come out. I wanted to have these lists done before then, just so that we could kind of have a base of where things stood before Scarlet and Violet. But yeah. Thanks everyone for watching. Click like if you liked the video, subscribe if you really liked it, I would love to know your guys' top 5 steel types in the comment section down below. I will respond to anybody and I will have a conversation there. So, but I'm gonna get out of here. Thanks everyone for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.